You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals. We're a top 100 team here in Tampa Bay. We help our sellers profit more, sell faster, call a lot of expired leads, canceled and expired leads. And let me tell you, the expired and canceled leads, the numbers are up big time. There were about 180 leads that had canceled after October 31 flipped over to November. So a lot of people are expiring. They're trying to sell. They're not able to. And the reason why is a lot of their sellers, or a lot of the sellers' agents, listing agents, are just doing minimal effort. You know, they literally put the property on MLS, sit back and hope it sells. And, you know, they may have professional photography. Sometimes, believe it or not, I still see cell phone pictures. But, we help you sell faster for more money, feature our listings in ways that other companies don't. We're the #1 real estate company in the world for a reason. And we got a hot listing here in Tampa Bay. 202 Westchester is one of our hot listings. This is a great opportunity. It's a pool home, saltwater pool. You got a screened-in lanai, a large lot, good-sized property here. 202 Westchester Hills Lane in Valrico. Almost 3,500 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2-car garage. And it's on a cul-de-sac with a heated saltwater pool enclosure, stainless steel appliances. Beautiful property. 202 Westchester Hills Lane in Valrico. Beautiful property there. 11810 Rodine Road is vacant land. We got a commercial opportunity here at 11810 Rodine Road in Riverview. It's almost a full acre. You've got a small building on site, storage area, fenced-in storage area as well. So it's surrounded by new development, new homes, traffic light at the intersection. Could be rezoned potentially to a residential property. 11810 Rodine Road in Riverview. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Buy dirt, find a one you can't live without.
And you can buy dirt for sure. This segment's brought to you by Ramin Kazami. If you're looking for any soft wash, Heights soft wash, pressure washing, Ramin Kazami, Heights Soft Wash is his company. Does a great job. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to peel off your paint. He's not going to damage your plants and your flowers. Beautiful, beautiful job. HeightsSoftWash.com. Check him out online. All right, going to the phone lines. We got our longtime friend of the program, attorney Milly Athanason, back on the show. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you so much. It's always great to be here, Brandon.
Absolutely. I love the topic. What to do when someone you know is getting a divorce.
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult when people announce that they're getting a divorce and they've had, mutual friends and, of course, family members. It's like, what do you do? What do you even say?
Right.
A lot of people start off by saying, oh, I'm sorry, and then they kind of are at a loss for words as to, okay, do I talk about the ex? What do I do? So I just thought that this was a good opportunity to talk to people because everybody knows somebody that's either going through a divorce or has been through a divorce, or maybe they've been through a divorce themselves.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
One of the things, how like when ladies are pregnant and they talk about pregnancy, other ladies are always telling them about their bad pregnancy stories. Oh, this happened to me, that happened to me.
Pile it on, right?
Pile it on.
Yeah.
Well, I urge people, don't tell your friends about your terrible, wow, I got divorced, this happened to them. No, because it's really about their life, right? And talking about what went through in your divorce or your friend's divorce or whatever doesn't really help this individual going through a divorce feel any better. So I would try to do that. I know that when you're trying to sue the friend, you try to relate to them or to relate to the problem that they're going through, but that may not always be the best solution. One of the things you can do is, just spend time with them. Invite them out. Even if they decline, keep inviting them out to do things like have a meal or to go, window shopping or to go to the park or whatever it is, whatever activities you do, because they need that. It kind of takes their mind off of all the tragedies going around. Obviously, don't be giving them legal advice if you're not an attorney. If they need an attorney, then make sure, if you know an attorney or you have someone you want to recommend, that's always good. get them to someone that can properly advise them. I know that many people have the temptation to be, I like to call them armchair attorneys, and you kind of sit there and tell them, well, don't do this and do this, and it may or may not be the correct legal advice for the situation at hand. Some things are not generic. In other words, it's not kind of like one-stop shop rules for everybody in certain circumstances. Sometimes there are, but sometimes they're not. So I always caution people in that regard. A lot of times, as I said, spending time with people going through a divorce is a really good thing because, they may have spent a lot of time with their spouse's family or with other friends that were, just for that other spouse. And so now they feel like they're alone in the world and they need someone to talk to. So that's a good thing. Another thing you could do is help them with their daily tasks. For example, if they have to move, if that's part of the process, help them pack. Sometimes, pulling out stuff like if they go through their memory or their memorabilia and, they're looking at, so-and-so gave me this sweater and now I'm crying because it brings back so many memories or whatever. If they have a friend there to help them pack up that stuff, that's like a really good thing, and it can take their minds off of things like that. The big thing, I think, is to just listen to them. People need to vent, and sometimes they may repeat the same thing over and over, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're telling me this, 50 times. But sometimes that's how people deal with grief. They deal with loss because they keep talking about it, and maybe the more times they say it, it doesn't hurt as bad by the time they get to the 49th time.
Yeah, lost less or never. Whenever you have those three thoughts, Tony Robbins does a good talk about this. It's loss, less, or never. If you feel as if you lost something, and then or you're going to have less because of some action that you took, or never is the worst. Lost, less, or so. Then when you focus on that, what happens is that's going to expand. That's what's going to expand in your mind and your relationships. And when you can constantly repeat a negative, that's what's going to happen. And I was also listening to Joel Osteen the other day, and he mentioned something about if you are that friend that somebody confides into, don't run around and spread negative gossip or negativity of that. Turn around, see how you can control that and have that control, but try to be that support person for the person that's going through it.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where the good listening just comes in, because a lot of times people will have a tendency, if somebody says, if the person going through a divorce says, my ex is a jerk and did this, and you go around and say, yep, what a big jerk that ex is. Yep. Well, then what happens is that could be hurtful to that person because they vacillate in their emotions while they're going through the divorce. Like, they may not have wanted this divorce, but they're going through it anyway. And so if you sit there and trash talk the ex or soon-to-be ex, now you're making them feel bad.
Yep.
I always say be a good listener, an active listener. And if they trash talk the ex, just listen. Don't say anything or other than, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry to hear that, or what have you, as opposed to joining in and saying, yeah, what a jerk, he or she did this, or she or he did this, or whatever. Just be a good listener. I think that loss or a divorce is kind of like a death, where people have to take the time to process it, run through all of the motions. They may go through a denial phase and an acceptance phase and the anger phase and so forth. And so when they're going through that, what they need is just somebody to listen to them and be there for them, kind of like the sounding board. You don't have a duty to fix everybody's problem as a friend. And we have a tendency when people tell us their problems, well, we want to be problem solvers. We want to tell them what they need to do to fix it. And some things just aren't fixable.
Right.
Yeah,
it's over 50% now, isn't it, the national divorce rate?
It is. Yeah, it's over 50% for first-time marriages. When you're on your second and third marriages, those percentages increase. It's like I think it's 62 or 63% for second-time marriages, and it's over 70% for third-time marriages. So, I mean, the odds are against you kind of going right out of the box.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. We're talking with attorney Milly Athanason, family law, divorce law here in Tampa Bay, longtime friend of the program. Support the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show. Milly Athanason here on the program, and we're talking about divorce and all of those different areas around divorce. You got the custody issues, child care, custody, and those types of concerns as well, Milly.
Yes, absolutely. And, you want to when people are going through a divorce, it's a really hard thing. And as I said, when you're the friend or a loved one of somebody going through a divorce, it's a hard thing for you to watch as a friend. Your initial reaction may be to try to, patch up their relationship or, give them advice. Well, you need to do this, that, or the other. And you have to be careful with that. As I said, not everything is fixable. And you don't, as a friend, have a duty to fix it. If they want to help or try to fix it, certainly you can suggest like marital counseling, but you don't need to be the marital counselor as a friend. What you can be as a good friend is like a good partner to help them do things perhaps that maybe they did with their partner, such as, if the partner took out all the trash and now they're sitting there like, what am I going to do? Maybe you can help them with some of these rudimentary tasks that they need to do just to give them a little bit of boost and make them feel like they're not alone in the world. Because I think there's a sense of loneliness when you are going through the divorce. You feel that you've been rejected. I always call it feeling like the Gong Show reject, where they used to mash the gong there. And,
yep.
And that's kind of like what a lot of people feel like when they're going through a divorce. It's like, oh, no, I've been dumped. I've been rejected. Woe is me. And so being there, going out for a meal, going to a movie with them or doing some social activity is great with them. Even showing up with food, like when people are sick, we tend to show up at people's houses with a cooked meal, to show our support. Well, for somebody going through a divorce, that's a great thing, too, just showing up with a meal, letting them know that somebody gives a hoot about them is, I think, a huge, huge bonus for people like that. I find that the other thing is don't press for a lot of details. Like, don't question them about every little thing in their marriage, because maybe they're not at a point where they want to tell you as a friend every little thing that went on. Some people do. Some people have what I like to call oral diarrhea, where they just spew it all out and they're going to tell you every little nitty-gritty detail. But some people don't want to do that. And so as a friend, you shouldn't press for the details. Just let them kind of direct and guide the conversations, and you be a friend and just be an active listener. Because everybody, I think, copes with the grief a little bit differently. The other thing that I see that happens a lot with friends is they criticize a person going through a divorce about their dating life. Because some people don't want to have a date. Some people will go out on a date right away. Some people may have what I like to call meaningful overnight relationships. And it's real easy for people to judge and say, well, gee, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't do this, or whatever. And that may or may not be true. Maybe it isn't in their best interest to do that. But if they do that, and that's part of their coping with grief type of a situation,
right?
You kind of, if you're going to be their friend, you got to kind of listen to that and try not to be that judgmental about what they're going to do.
Yeah, right.
And, I think one of the things is to ask them what they need. Maybe just ask them, well, what can I do for you? That is sometimes a great help, because people may have something in mind. Some people are going to say, no, I don't need anything. I'm great. Well, they're not great. Obviously, they're going through a divorce. So you kind of have to, and not necessarily take that at face value, but if there's something there that you can help them with, definitely do so. And the big question that that happens all the time, or that I hear about all the time, is, if I'm a friend and I was friends with both the husband and the wife, do I have to choose sides?
Right, choosing sides. Yeah.
And
that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's the fun part, because people tend to do that. And because you may try to sit there and play, the quarterback of the situation and try to determine, okay, this person's more at fault than the other person, or vice versa. And in many instances, there are situations where one party seems to be more at fault than the other. But it doesn't necessarily mean, because they were a bad spouse, that they're a bad friend.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's take a quick break there, Millie. When we come back, more with the Milly Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, online at athanasonlaw.com. 5-star reviews on Google as well. Coming right back, more with attorney Milly Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, our feel-good story of the day. Patriots Robert Kraft sent gift to first female to score touchdown in Massachusetts high school's history. We'll be right back with our feel-good story of the day. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, everybody.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here. Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. You've got a hot listing on Southwind Drive in Hudson. Got a vacant lot available. Build your dream home in Pasco County on the waterfront. Beautiful property. Southwind Drive in Hudson. And you've got unobstructed, beautiful views of the Gulf of Mexico. There's no backyard neighbor, and it's a great opportunity. 0.16 acre Gulf front lot surrounded by $900,000 homes. Beautiful property. Build your dream home. Southwind Drive in Hudson. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
I'm walking on sunshine. Wow, it's time to feel good. Hey, tell me something good.
All right, so this is a football player in Massachusetts high school received a surprise from New England's Patriots after becoming the first female in school's history to score a touchdown. Brockton High School Mackenzie Quinn had a big night when she rushed for a touchdown against Dartmouth, marking her first touchdown in a varsity game and the first scored by a girl in the school's 125-year history. Within 5 days, the team, including owner Robert Kraft, sent Quinn some memorabilia in celebration of the big score. The high school posted a picture of a personalized page on its social media pages, thanking the team for the swag, which included an autographed Patriots football that read, "To the mighty Quinn, a pat on the back to you and all who contributed to your historic TD. We love to see you having fun, having a ball pursuing your passions. Continued success. The Patriots are rooting for you. We are all Patriots." All right, there you have it, our feel-good story of the day. Back to the phone lines, attorney Milly Athanason. Milly, what else are you seeing there out of your law practice?
Well, with people going through a divorce, I was touching upon, should you choose friends or pick sides in a divorce? And I think you should try to avoid that as much as you can, particularly if there are children involved. So in other words, if you're the mom or dad to little Johnny, and little Johnny played with the neighbors, and now y'all are getting divorced, hopefully the neighbors won't pick, well, we like mom or like dad better. Hopefully they'll be focused on, okay, well, our children are good friends with little Johnny, and we're going to continue to support that friendship, because then it makes the kids feel like they're getting divorced too. So, if as much as you can avoid doing that, that's certainly the best thing that you can do. The other thing that, you could do as a friend, as far as giving advice, I think the biggest thing you could do is tell them to lay off, moaning about it on social media.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I cannot tell you how many times you go on, and I do this when I'm representing people, I'll go on and look to see what both my client and the other spouse are doing on social media, because if my client is saying stuff on social media that he or she shouldn't be saying, then obviously I'm going to tell them to stop making those kinds of comments. And I also like to see what's going on with the other party, to see what they're posting on social media, to see obviously if there's any evidence that I can utilize it against them. Because again, once you put it up on social media, it's a statement. It's considered a statement that you made, and we're free to use it because there's no expectation of privacy when you're posting stuff up on social media.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the most interesting things that you've come across on social media, Millie?
Oh my gosh! So you'll see people that are going through a custody battle, and they're posting themselves partying it up with a bunch of women, and they just look, pretty imbibed or whatever all over social media.
Right.
And I mean, these are not things you want to do when you're in the middle of a custody battle. I mean, you'd rather take a picture of yourself walking out of church and posting that on social media.
Yeah. There you go.
But unfortunately, people are people, and so, they're going to do those things. And then another thing that I think is really bad that people do on social media is they bash the other spouse on social media, and they'll try to make it sound like it's a generic thing towards everybody, but, it's kind of clear from the message that they're directing it towards their soon-to-be ex.
Right.
Those are things you do not want to post on social media because a court's going to say, well, that's not somebody that's likely to co-parent well if they're sitting there bashing their spouse at every opportunity that they have. So I think that's the biggest thing. Those are the things that I see the most of that people kind of do offensively on social media. That this is not, social media should not be utilized as a venting forum for whatever feelings that you have. I always tell people, secure a therapist or a very good friend that you can confide in that isn't going to tell what your inner thoughts are to everybody else in public, because you do need support people going through a divorce, but you don't want to say things or do things that are going to hurt you. I always preach to clients to take the high road. And, that doesn't mean that you're going to act like a saint necessarily. We all understand we have moments, but you're going to do your very best to not bash the other side, no matter how much they're popping in your face.
And no matter how much you want to. Restrain. You got to practice restrain, Millie, right?
Oh, God, yes. And, that's hard for people to do.
That's right. Online at athanasonlaw.com. 5-star reviews all over Google. Check her out online. Attorney Milly Athanason, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for having me again.
My pleasure. Hey, another great show. We had Anna Paulina Luna on the front end and Attorney Milly Athanason on the second half. Great show. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.